What if the relentless search for a soulmate is the very thing destroying your capacity for love? What if that profound, undeniable feeling of destiny, that jolt of recognition when you meet a certain person, is not a map from the universe, but a mirror reflecting your own unexamined mind? We are told, in whispers and in shouts, that when the energy of two souls aligns, no force can keep them apart. But the ancient Stoics would offer a sterner, more powerful, and ultimately more liberating truth. By the end of our time together, you will understand how to build a connection that is not found by chance, but forged by choice. You will learn to see the architecture of your own character, and we will finally answer that question. Why do some people feel like home, while others feel like a lesson? Before we proceed, let us be clear. This is a philosophical exploration of principles that have been tested for over 2 millennia. It is intended for educational and reflective purposes. It is not medical advice, psychological therapy, or a substitute for professional counsel. The principles of Stoicism are a framework for self-examination, not a prescription. Your life, your choices, and your responsibility for them remain entirely your own. We have all felt it, that instant click. You cross paths with a stranger, and within minutes, it feels as if you are picking up a conversation that has been going on for years. The resonance is so deep, so immediate, that it seems to bypass logic. It feels, in a word, fated. Modern psychology has given this many names: limbic mirroring, unconscious resonance, a recognition of shared archetypes. Carl Jung, for instance, spoke of synchronicity, the idea of meaningful coincidences that seem to be orchestrated by a force greater than personal will. The Stoics, however, would caution us to pause and examine this powerful impression. They would not deny the feeling. The Stoics were realists, not unfeeling robots. They would simply question our judgment about it. That powerful pull is real. But what precisely is pulling? And what is being pulled? The ancient philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius understood the world as a single, unified system, an organism permeated by a divine rationality they called the logos, or reason. In this view, nothing is truly random. But not random does not mean magically predestined for your personal happiness. It means that everything happens according to a vast, unbroken chain of cause and effect. Your meeting that person was not an accident, it was an intersection. It was the product of a billion preceding causes, your choices, their choices, the cities you live in, the coffee shop you both decided to visit at that exact moment. So when you click with someone, it is not two souls mystically aligning. It is two characters intersecting. It is two sets of judgments about life, about humor, about values, about trauma, that have found a point of contact. This connection can feel like a portal, as the source material suggests. But a portal to what? Is it a portal to something greater? Or is it a portal back into your own unlit rooms? This is where the first and most important principle of Stoic practice must be laid on the table: the dichotomy of control. There are things within our control and things outside of it. What is outside our control? Everything. External. That includes the past, the future, the weather, the economy, your reputation, and other people. You cannot, through sheer force of will or alignment of energy, control another person. You cannot control if they appear in your life, if they stay, if they love you, if they betray you, or if they die. What is within our control. Only one thing, but it is everything, our own proheresis. This is a crucial Greek term. It doesn't just mean choice, it means our faculty of will, our core ruling faculty. It is the part of us that assents to judgments. It is the internal power to decide what things mean. Let us apply this. You meet someone. You feel the pull. This is an impression. It is an external event, like a loud noise. It is in itself neutral. It is neither good nor bad. It is simply data. Now your proheresis steps in. You judge this feeling. You might judge, this is it. This is my destiny. This person will complete me. My search is over. The moment you make that judgment, you have taken an external, another human being, and you have chained your internal peace to it. You have made your happiness, your tranquility, dependent on something you cannot control. In the eyes of a Stoic, you have just handed the keys to your inner citadel to a stranger, simply because they had a pleasing face or a familiar laugh. The original transcript states, when the energy of two souls aligns, no force can keep them apart. This is, with respect, a beautiful and dangerous piece of poetry. It is the thinking of a mind that has not yet faced true hardship. What force are we talking about? Can disease keep them apart? Yes. Can a natural disaster? Yes. Can a sudden change of heart, an old addiction, a new job, a prior commitment, or the simple, grinding friction of daily life? Yes, yes, and yes. To believe otherwise is to set yourself up for profound suffering. The only alignment that no force can break is the alignment of your own and will with virtue. The only bond that cannot be severed is the one between your proheresis and reason. This is a much harder, less romantic, and infinitely more stable foundation for a life. So, if it's not soul energy, what is that powerful magnetic pull? The source text points to Jung's archetypes and limbic mirroring. This is surprisingly close to the Stoic view if we adjust the language. The Stoics taught that our minds are shaped by habits of judgment. From childhood, we internalize beliefs. I am only lovable if I am successful. Kindness is weakness. Chaos is exciting. Stability is boring. These are not archetypes from a collective pool. They are scaffolding we built or had built for us to make sense of the world. When you meet someone, your nervous system does know it before your mind. It recognizes a pattern. It picks up on subtle cues, tone of voice, posture, how they handle a minor inconvenience like a spilled drink, and what it recognizes is familiarity. Here is the critical divergence. Sometimes familiar feels like home because it is healthy. You grew up with rational, virtuous role models, and you recognize that same stability in another. Their character resonates with your reasoned values. This is a fortunate and rare alignment. But for many of us, familiar feels like home because it is the specific brand of chaos we grew up with. That jolt is not your soul recognizing its mate. It is your unexamined wounds recognizing a familiar tormentor. This brings us to our first story. Let us call her Julia. Julia was a brilliant lawyer, sharp, respected, and in complete command of her professional life. Her personal life, however, was a repeating disaster. She was drawn with unerring magnetic precision to men who were charismatic, wildly unpredictable, and emotionally unavailable. She called it chemistry. She said she felt truly alive in the drama. Each relationship started with that fated jolt, a whirlwind of intensity, and ended inevitably in a painful fire. Julia believed she was the victim of bad luck or a karmic pattern. The source video might suggest she was meeting catalysts to trigger her individuation. A Stoic would offer a simpler, harsher diagnosis. Julia's judgments were corrupted. She had a core, unexamined belief. Love must be earned through struggle. Peace is not love. It is boredom. The alignment she felt was not of souls, but of wounds. Her internal chaos was simply recognizing itself in another, like a tuning fork vibrating to its own destructive frequency. She was not a victim of fate. She was a prisoner of her passions in the Stoic sense. A pathos, or passion, is not just a strong emotion. It is a disease of judgment. It is what happens when you assent to a false belief, like, I need this person's approval to be whole. Julia's shadow, to borrow the Jungian term, was not some mystical entity. It was her own disowned reason. It was the part of her that knew this was self-destructive, a part she silenced every time the jolt of chemistry appeared. The work she had to do was not shadow work in a dark room. It was the bright, sober, daily work of examining her impressions. When she felt that pull, she had to train herself to pause, to not assent, to step back and ask, what is this feeling? It is an impression of excitement. Is this excitement good? Is this person's character virtuous? Is this alignment based on reason or on my old familiar sickness? This is the hard, grinding, unglamorous work of forging a new character. This leads us to the source's most valuable insight, which the Stoics would wholeheartedly endorse: the idea of a catalyst versus a companion. The video suggests that some people arrive to initiate change, not to sustain comfort. This is profoundly true. But the Stoic would take it a step further. Everyone and everything that enters your life is a catalyst. There is no other function. The universe, the logos, is a vast, impartial training ground. It provides you with material to practice virtue. The companion who stays with you for 40 years is material. They are your daily opportunity to practice patience, kindness, loyalty, and justice. The catalyst who shatters your heart in 6 months is also material. They are your opportunity to practice resilience, forgiveness, self-possession, and the hard truth of the dichotomy of control. The role is not defined by the duration. The value is not in the outcome. The value is in your response. A 2018 study mentioned in the source found that intense, unstable relationships often function as developmental turning points. Of course they do. As Seneca wrote, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. These relationships are friction. They are the forge. Your individuation, your journey to becoming your true self, is nothing more and nothing less than the process of strengthening your prohairesis, your faculty of choice, until it is aligned with reason. When a connection feels forced, heavy, even painful, the source suggests it's feedback that the vibrational match has shifted. This is a gentle way of putting it. A Stoic would say, reality is providing you with a clear signal that your judgments are in conflict with the facts. The pain is not a bad vibration. The pain is a symptom, the symptom of wanting reality to be different than it is. The feedback is your own reason telling you. You are clinging to an external, that is no longer here or was never what you thought it was. Let go. Letting go, as the source rightly says, is not a failure or a loss. It is an act of integrity. You are not losing the other person. You are reclaiming your own mind. You are choosing to align with truth over fantasy. This is the moment you stop betraying your own logos and honor its cycle. This brings us to a crucial point about power, boundaries, and the naivety of pure alignment. A Machiavellian worldview focused on power would see all this talk of alignment as hopelessly romantic. It would argue that people act from self-interest, fear, and a desire for dominance. A Stoic stands between these two poles. Unlike the pure idealist, the Stoic agrees that people will often act from passion, from fear, from vice. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that he would meet people who were meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, and treacherous. This is not cynicism. It is realism. He did not expect people to be aligned with him. He expected them to be human and therefore flawed. But unlike the Machiavellian, the Stoic's response is not to manipulate them, control them, or despair. The response is internal. The fact that someone else is treacherous is their moral problem, not yours. It is their character, their judgments, that are corrupt. This is external to you. Your only job is to ensure that your response is not treacherous. Your job is to maintain your own integrity. Your job is to use their vice as material to practice your virtue. The virtue of courage, to set a boundary. The virtue of justice, to act fairly even when wronged. And the virtue of temperance, to not be consumed by rage or revenge. This is true power. It is not the power to control others. It is the power to not be controlled. When you stop needing others to be a certain way, you gain the freedom to interact with them as they are. This brings us to our second story, the delayed awakening. Let's call him Mark. Mark wasn't looking for a soulmate. He thought he had one. His wife of 30 years, their alignment was legendary among their friends. They finished each other's sentences. Their bond was, by any measure, whole, healthy, and built on mutual respect. He was not a philosopher, but he was a good man, and his happiness was, understandably, deeply interwoven with her. Then a sudden illness, a brain aneurysm. She was gone in an hour. Mark's world did not just break, it vanished. He felt betrayed, not by her, but by the universe, by fate. Their alignment was perfect, so no force should have been able to keep them apart. But a tiny random rupture of a blood vessel did. Mark's journey back was not about shadow work or redefining his identity. It was a slow, brutal education in Stoic first principles. His delayed awakening was the realization that his tranquility, his entire sense of home, had been built on a foundation that was, and always had been, external. He had loved well, but he had loved carelessly, not in his actions toward her, but in his judgments about her. He had mistaken a preferred indifferent for a true good. In Stoic terms, his wife's life was a preferred indifferent. This sounds cold, but it is surgically precise. It means, I prefer for this to be in my life. I will work to keep it, but my ultimate good, my virtue, my eudaimonia, does not depend on it. Mark had to learn, in the ashes of his life, to practice amor fati, the love of one's fate. This is not passive resignation. It is an active, affirmative embrace of reality, as it is. His awakening was this thought: the universe did not take her from me. The universe gave her to me for 30 years. The loan has been recalled. My grief is the measure of my love. But my character will be the measure of my response. He had to learn to find his center of gravity not in the memory of their alignment, but in his own capacity for reason right now. He had to move from "I cannot live without her" to "I am living without her, therefore I can. So how shall I live?" This is the path to the inner citadel, and it is this work, this internal fortification, that finally addresses the core idea of alignment begins within. The source video is precisely correct when it says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. A Stoic would simply rephrase it, until you examine your judgments, your unexamined passions will direct your life, and you will call it bad luck or destiny. If your inner world is filled with unexamined judgments, I am unworthy, I am broken, I need saving, you will attract partners who reflect those wounds. This is not a vibrational curse. It is psychological gravity. You will seek what is familiar. You will accept the love you judge you deserve. The shadow work of the Stoic is not a mystical descent. It is a daily, rigorous, and liberating audit. It is the prosoche, the practice of continuous, vigilant attention to your own mind. It is the evening meditation of Marcus Aurelius. What judgment did I assent to today that was false? What passion did I indulge? What duty did I neglect? Where did I act without virtue? When you stop running from your darkness, which is just your own errors in judgment, you stop needing others to be your savior or your villain. Your relationships stop being battlegrounds for validation and start becoming sanctuaries for practice. The source says, love that comes from lack demands. Love that comes from wholeness gives. This is pure Stoicism. When you build your own inner citadel, when you find that your eudaimonia, your deep abiding flourishing, comes only from aligning your will with reason, you become whole. You are not a half seeking another half. You are a complete circle. And here is the beautiful paradox. The moment you stop needing another person to complete you, you become capable of true, profound, and stable love. This is why, as the source notes, people so often meet the right person when they've stopped looking. It is not because they gave up. It is because they turned inward. They did the work. They stopped trying to find the right person and started the much harder work of becoming the right person. When two such individuals meet, two whole individuals, two complete circles, their bond is not built on need. It is not a desperate, clinging alignment of two fragmented souls. It is a choice. It is a calm, rational, and joyous agreement between two self-sufficient citadels to stand side by side, to share a path, to help each other practice virtue. This is not fantasy. It is the highest form of emotional and philosophical maturity. This brings us to our third story, the transformation. Let us return to Julia, the lawyer who was addicted to chaos. Her downfall was not the end. It was the beginning. She was shattered, which meant she could be remade. She began the work. She read Epictetus. She started a journal practicing the Stoic audit. At first, it was mechanical. She would feel that jolt for a charismatic, unavailable man. Her old habit would scream, "This is it. This is passion." But she had trained a new response. She would pause. She would write it down. Impression, this man is exciting and magnetic. Judgment, exciting is good. Magnetic means soulmate. Analysis, is this true? What is the evidence? His exciting behavior is objectively erratic. His magnetism is unavailability. This is not a good. This is my old wound. This is external and not aligned with virtue. New assent, I acknowledge the feeling. It is a chemical echo. But I do not assent to the judgment. I choose to see it as a dispreferred indifferent. I choose to act from reason. It was a battle every single day. She was an athlete retraining a fundamental muscle. It was grueling, but her inner citadel, brick by painful brick, was being built. Months later, she met a man. Let's call him Thomas. He was an architect. He was quiet. He was kind. He was consistent. When she met him, there was no jolt. There was no lightning. Her old patterns whispered that he was boring. But Julia, the new Julia, paused and examined that impression. Impression, this man is boring. Judgment, boring is bad. Analysis, what do I mean by boring? He is stable. He is rational. He is respectful. He is present. These are the foundations of virtue. My old judgment that boring is bad was the sickness. This is peace. This is reason. She chose to explore this connection. It was not a fall into love. It was a decision. It was the construction of love. Theirs was not an alignment of energy. It was an alliance of character. They were two people who had both, in their own ways, done the internal work. They were two citadels standing side by side. This, at last, closes the loop we opened at the beginning. Why do some people feel like home, while others feel like a lesson? The lesson is the mirror. It is the universe, the logos, presenting you with an external that perfectly matches your internal disorder. It is a test. It is your unexamined judgments, your passions, staring back at you from another's face. The feeling of home is more complex. It can be the lesson in disguise, the home of your familiar chaos, as it was for Julia at first. But the true home, the one built on bedrock, is not a feeling at all. It is a recognition. It is your reason recognizing itself in another. It is the deep, quiet, unshakable peace of two characters who have both aligned themselves, first and foremost, with virtue. So, what is the final portable truth? The goal is not to find an alignment. The goal is to become aligned. To align your proheresis, your will, with logos, with reason, with reality. You must build your own house. You must become your own sanctuary. When you do this, your relationships cease to be a desperate search for completion. They become a joyous field for the practice of virtue. The connection that matters is not the one that feels fated. It is the one you choose every day from a place of wholeness. This is the great work. It is the work of a lifetime. This daily examination, this fortification of the inner citadel, is the core of the practice. But we do not build this fortress to hide from the world. We build it so we can engage with the world truly and bravely, without fear. We build it to prepare for the inevitable storms, for loss, for friction, for the simple fact that life is hard. The ancients knew that to live well, you must not only build your character, but also prepare your mind for adversity. They had a specific technique for this, a way to build preemptive resilience, a way to die before you die so that you could, at last, truly begin to live. It is the practice of premeditatio malorum, the art of negative visualization, and that, perhaps, is the next chapter in our journey.